Recession Core. I think we're on the verge of Recession Core. And not only, it's two things. I see people talking about it online, and you have to be paying attention to what's going on in stores. Like, I went in Target the other day, and normally the Halloween section's wiped out by this time of year. Yes, I know, because I buy Halloween decor for my house, right? And it's still full. It's still packed. So that tells me people are not spending like they were because they literally can't. So I'm going to tell you my tips and my tricks on building an affordable alternative goth closet style catalog. First of all, I'm going to need you to go on Pinterest. You can follow me on Pinterest, but also, because I have a lot of boards saved on there, you need to make yourself a Pinterest board, okay? Let me show you mine. So not only have I created a Pinterest board digitally, but I printed out my favorite looks that I could find on Pinterest, okay? And this is my inspo. Who is the future version of you? Who do you want to become? Who are you trying to embody? Obviously, if you're here, it's because you're in the goth alternative genre, okay? I want to tell you something, and I say this even as a cosmetologist, makeup artist. Do not put yourself in a box. You will regret it. Okay. I used to be, I'm only goth glam, blah. But what if some days you're not? What if some days you want to have goth girl, rock star girlfriend aesthetic? What if some days you want to be vampire goth? What if some days you just want to be a normie and wear like baggy jeans and a hoodie? Don't put yourself in a box with a title. Okay. If you like the alternative goth genre, great. That's fine. But just find things that fit you. Fit your niche, fit your look, okay? So yes, I love goth glam. You guys know that. But this is really who I am at my core. It's almost like goth mixed with like Clueless aesthetic. Remember Clueless, the movie? But like all black, red, burgundy, okay? I love lace. I love satin. I love zippers. I love spikes, right? So I use this and I put it on my wall as basically inspiration of who or what do I want to look like. Now, Astro out. All right, so this is my outfit for today. What is it? It's October 27th, 2025, okay? The most expensive thing on this outfit is my harness. This is a Disturbia harness, okay? This mesh shirt was probably $10. I have a couple of undershirts that were like $4 and $5. This skirt, I got it at Ross for $9, okay? It's actually shorts. These hose were on Amazon for like $4 or something. They have little skulls on them, skull pattern. I personally, when I build my wardrobe, I like to spend the most amount of money on my accessories, okay? That's just how I am, because building the basics up in a alternative goth wardrobe is a lot easier than you think. Although with this video, we're going to have to tie in Recession Core, right? So the goth genre or alternative umbrella can be a little gatekeepy when it comes to fashion, okay? For good reason, sometimes and not always. There's a lot of gothic influencers that try to influence their audience into buying designer or the higher end gothic brands, okay? And they've convinced, I don't know who started this, but they have convinced the audience of the alternative goth community that the more expensive the price tag it is, the better quality it's made, and that it was made not in a factory with kids working there, okay? Slavery or whatever. And then there's another theory of don't buy, if you're goth and you're alternative and you have the ideologies of goth music, which is, you know, equality across the board and making sure that everyone is loved and safe, don't buy anything from China because it could have come, you know, from a factory where people are like enslaved or whatever. Okay, I'm here to kind of be in your face, and you're not going to like this answer, okay? I worked at the Denver Merchandise Mart with my mother since I was born. My mom had several businesses wholesale, okay? The Denver Merchandise Mart is closed. They still have the Dallas Mart and I think it's the Atlanta Mart. There's one in Vegas, but it's not very good. You have to have a sales tax license and a business license to purchase from here. Okay. If you ever have a business license and get your sales tax license, I would highly suggest the Dallas Mart is amazing. It's massive. It's 20 stories high. It's amazing. You can only shop in there and buy in there with a wholesale license, okay, and a resale license. The reason I'm talking about this is I wanted to be a fashion designer for many years, okay? My grandmother was a fashion designer. My mom was a fashion designer. I wanted to be one. And first of all, I realized you didn't have to go to school for it. But second of all, over time, you realize the reality of clothing, and 98% of our textiles come from China. There is nothing we can do about it. And if someone online owns a business and is telling you they're purchasing ethically purchased clothing, they're lying. And I'm telling you they're lying, one, because I was in wholesale my whole life. But two, you cannot determine where an item originally comes from. This item, this shirt alone, could have been sold 10 times before it ended up in the store that I bought. And you don't know where that shirt was made. You're not going to be able to track it. There's just no way. In order for an item to be said or claimed that it was made in the USA, all you have to do is put one stitch in. So 99% of companies will literally buy items. They will purchase like the tag on the neck, and they will have the tag sewed in on US soil just to say it was made in the USA. It was not, in fact, made in the USA. And even if items are not made in the USA, the next question is, where does the material come from? Because I'm going to go back to it again. 98% of the material alone also comes from China. So maybe a company, a factory in Italy will buy the fabric in China and send it, to Italy, and then they make it there. Or factories will buy several times, the textiles back and forth until it's finally bought for a factory where they make all of those shirts there. So I'm just saying we can't escape the fact that it's made in China, because all of our stuff is made in China. And I understand. And here's another thing though, is like, you have to remember, not everything in China is cheaply made. Not everything from China is a sweatshop, okay? Let's keep that in mind. And I want to give you a perfect example. This is a Goth brand called Krystal. They're out of Poland, okay? It's very popular. This alone was like $100 for this jumper, okay? I decided to buy a few pieces from them, and nothing's less than about $100 from them. Plus you have to pay right now for tariffs and shipping. So I had like a really expensive order from them. But this came in the mail, and I was going to return it because I think it's made very bad. So it's very poor quality for $100. I don't like that there's velvet detailing of the cathedral on the front, but the back is blank. To me, that's very cheap, right? Why is the design not finished on the back? Maybe this is my fashion designer brain thinking. And if I paid $100 for this, why does it feel like really scratchy, hard? It's not good quality. Whatever this nylon is, it's just not good quality. It's very stiff. You can see it's very stiff, okay? This is a brand that is pushed by a lot of Gothic influencers. This onesie specifically, because it's the cathedral onesie, is pushed by a lot of Gothic influencers, which is why I bought it. And I wanted to, I trusted the influencers. I trusted them, and I'm an influencer myself, but I don't lie to you guys, right? So I get this in the mail, right? It comes in the mail. And I was like, okay, well, Gothic influencers, like they say, buy the expensive brands and, don't buy anything from China. What does this tag say? Produced in China. So you don't have to buy expensive. Don't think that an expensive brand is avoiding what you're trying to avoid, okay? This probably cost them $3 to have it produced, if that, and now they're turning around and selling it for $100, okay? Wholesale was like $3 probably, if that, and it's not good quality. I'm not saying everything from Krystal is bad quality, but I did get a couple other things that I also find. I got a skirt that like literally feels like a trash bag, okay? And I couldn't send it back because of the tariffs. If I would have sent this back, I would have lost all my money. I would have had to pay for shipping to send it back. So while the tariffs are in place, don't waste your money right now because it's very expensive. This is another Goth company that has the cathedral stockings. I'll put them on the screen. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. And this is made in Italy, and you can tell this is handmade. So if I'm comparing this lingerie company and the nylon to this nylon from this company that's made in China, there's a stark difference of quality. This is absolutely worth $100, and this was not, okay? So, and obviously they hand make the belts as well. Isn't that just gorgeous? Anyway, the point of this rant is not everything that comes from China is bad, but also don't think that everything made by an expensive or designer goth company is going to be worth your money, because that's also not the case, okay? My biggest piece of advice to you is just do the best you can, especially when we're dipping into a point where the economy is not doing well. Everyone's going to be hurting soon. There's no way people are going to be buying a $100 onesie, okay? And I just want to guide you in a way where you can still look good, even on a budget, okay? The biggest thing is just using your discernment, right? There's a big thing in the goth community. People that are goth don't buy from H&M because they're known for bad practices. Shein is known for bad practices. And here's the problem with Shein though, and this is where you're going to have to use your own discernment and like decide what's best for you or not. Shein is essentially like a wholesale outlet, because if you go on there and let's say you pick out 5 items, if you look at the seller of each of those items, they're completely different warehouses. Not everything is made at Shein. Is just the app itself. It's the platform that the sellers are selling through. So are there some people that have bad practices and questionable morals? 100%. Are you going to be able to determine which sellers are bad and which ones are good? You'd have to do a research on each of them. You're going to have to use that up to your discretion, right? Once again, I'm going to keep going back to this. 98% of our textiles. So that's even like when you're making a piece of furniture and it has like velvet, or the textile itself, that all of that fabric is made from China. 98% of our clothes and textiles are from China. We are not going to avoid that. We're just not. How do you use your discernment to find which companies are ethical or not? That is up to you on how much research that you want to do. Okay? But take in mind, if you're protesting Shein, you also need to protest Amazon, because they sell the same things from the same sellers. You need to be protesting Walmart. You need to be protesting Target. You need to be protesting almost damn near everything. And I'm not going to lie, I bought some Nightmare Before Christmas pajamas from Walmart from Halloween. You just have to do the best you can. We're human at the end of the day. Yes, we need to be ethical. Yes, we need to fight for human rights. But you also can't walk around naked knowing that 98% of our clothing is made in China. There's nothing we can do about it. And remember, not all businesses there are unethical. I don't know where that started in the goth alternative community. I would really just promote anyone out there to do your education and research on wholesale businesses, resale, and understanding this narrative, because what's being spun around to me, unfortunately, is just like not everyone knows the truth about how to run a business, about wholesale. And also, it's okay to like your favorite gothic content creators and influencers, but make sure that they're being honest and ethical with you, because most of the time, and I'm included, but I'm very transparent about what I get for free. Some of these creators are out here getting very expensive designer clothes for free and then promoting them to you when they may not even be able to afford a $600 shirt. Do you hear me? Did you hear what I said? Okay, let's talk about my closet, and I want to share some of the pieces and items that I have, where I sort of shop, and we'll go from there. So to start building a wardrobe with black, and it doesn't have to be black. You can use burgundies, you can use reds, like it doesn't have to be just solid dark colors, okay? I even incorporate like dark academia sometimes into my wardrobe, right? Plain skirts is the way to go. So favorite stores in Vegas for me are places like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ross, okay? In fact, all these skirts that you're seeing right now, I purchased at Ross. They were like $9 a piece. And they're really, I probably have way too many black skirts. I probably have 20 just plain black skirts to switch it up with. They all do look a little bit different though. And you can switch this up with any type of shirt. So sticking with plain or solids is your best bet. Now, if you have a corporate job or a big kid job, make sure you're not wearing too short of skirts. Obviously, I work for myself, so I can wear whatever I want. And this is going back to, once again, creating your vision board so you know what to look for when you're out shopping. Also, I like to get to know my stores, the personal stores that I shop at. So I'll ask the manager, what's the best day to come in, like during shipments? And for me, when I go to Ross, it seems to be like Wednesdays and Thursdays are the best days when the store is sort of fully stocked by Friday. Try to avoid the stores Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All of the good stuff's already going to be gone. So try to hit it up early Friday at the latest, Wednesday, Thursday at the early. I would do your research on areas. There is we have two. Blasphemy Boutique is in Vegas, but it's a little bit more witchy. And then Cash for Chaos is an alternative store in Vegas, but very expensive, right? Like this skirt is, it's a well-known brand. It's called Band. And this skirt was $65, okay? You could probably train yourself how to sew, which I'm going to do some videos on showing you guys how to do some DIY stuff at home. But this is where you sort of save up to get those one pieces that really stand out that you want to create a really cool outfit for. You can really turn any outfit and make it alternative, in my opinion. Now this is an interesting one. So this skirt, I fell in love with it, but it was on Dolls Kill, and a lot, if not a majority of the alternative community does not like Dolls Kill. And the reason is, you'll have to look it up. There was a controversy that happened where they said something like dead girls can't consent. And that was definitely related to like the alternative community. It should have outraged all women, but especially the alternative girlies. So nobody shops at Dolls Kill. However, I did find this on Depop. So it's brand new. The tag is still on it. Yes, it does say Dolls Kill on it, but somebody bought this. It didn't fit, and then they resold it. I bought this on Depop. It's brand new. It was like $7, and that included shipping. So if you watch the resale apps like Depop, Vinted, stuff like that, you can find really cool, unique onesie pieces that are absolutely worth it, in my opinion. I just want to show that I have a little bit of diversity in how you can make anything alternative. I found these two skirts at Ross as well, and they have skirts. They're actually shorts underneath. But you could definitely easily make this alternative with like stirrup straps or even like a beret and a hat and gray as well. You don't have to stick with just black. In fact, I even got some brown skirts that I found at Ross. And textures are kind of a big deal. I feel like if you really pay attention to textures, you'll realize that sometimes certain textures will make you look like that really just pays off the outfit. So pay attention to textures. I do like a latex skirt every once in a while, and the best ones that I can find that I like are Etsy, just as a heads up. Latex is a little bit more expensive, so I'm just warning you. And then every once in a while, I like to find a really unique skirt. I honestly don't know where this is from because I've probably had it for 10 years. I'm not even kidding. But you could easily dress this up as alternative with, you know, a beret and even a harness and tall boots. Florals, right? Very Persephone underworld. So anytime I think both of these came from Ross for like $9 each. I love to find dark florals. They're hard to find. I did find this on Amazon. It's kind of cheap. Beware of buying on Amazon. I feel like stuff on Amazon's a little bit on the cheaper side. You can sometimes find decently priced designer stuff at like Marshall's, TJ Maxx, Home Goods, and Ross. But once again, I'm just going to remind you about textures and lace and how like this is a little bit more on the Victorian goth side. So you could really kind of dress it up. I love this shirt with pants and a lot of basics. I love the pointed collars. They're very hard to find, but I do own a couple. I have a black one and an orange one. Layering is really important. It makes things look really good, really cool, really classy, kind of just steps your vibe up. And honestly, you can thrift these pretty easily. Unfortunately, thrifting in Vegas sucks. It's very much like, it's pointed at tourists as vintage, and it's not actually vintage. It's just like overpriced shit that like nobody wants. So I can't wait to leave Vegas because the thrifting here is horrible. It's horrendous. But in any other location, if you can find some really decent secondhand shops, vintage stores, thrift stores, like here, if you go to Goodwill and you get a used dress, and like sometimes they're not the best, but it's still like the alternative side, $25 for a dress at the Goodwill here, which you can pretty much buy one on that for Amazon. Not that you should, but I'm just comparing. And then the vintage stores here are ridiculously overpriced. If you want like a vintage like jacket, let's say it's like a ankle length black leather jacket, and it may not even be actually vintage. It's like $200. So once again, Vegas isn't a good place for it, but do check. And sometimes the local mom and pop shops are like the best ones. Plain colored shirts never go wrong. You can do so much keeping it simple. I actually find a lot of dresses at like Ross and Marshall's. This is one that I found at Marshall's. It was only $16. Definitely needs more than just wearing it alone. You really have to pizzazz it up with like accessories. But this was even really great for fall, and it gives you a little bit more of that dark academia look. So, and I think it was also $16, 19 bucks. So I think this is the way to go for now. Burlington Coat Factory too, we have those, and I thought that was really cool. It looked kind of vintage. This would be really cute over like the pointed collar, long sleeve. I dress up my clothes with accessories, okay? I'm the accessory queen. This can include corsets or even like the belt I showed you guys at the beginning of the video. You can pretty much find these anywhere. I think I actually thrifted this one. I loved the pinstripes on it just for something different. Now, there's a company I follow. I know the owner. It's called Blasphemy Boutique, and she sells these belts online. Most of these belts came from Blasphemy Boutique, and she doesn't charge an arm and a leg. I cannot stand the goth alternative stores that think because they're in a niche, they should charge $120 for this. Like, I think she charged $16 for these. I loved this one because it was, once again, dark florals, which is just my thing. I think this one was like $19 from Blasphemy Boutique. Go on my Instagram and see who I'm following, because I'm following a bunch of like alternative companies and stores. This was from Blasphemy Boutique. I think it was $24 just because it's a lot of chains and a little bit heavier. There's just something in the alt community where they have trained you guys to think because you're paying more for it means it's designer or better quality or not made in a sweatshop. And I'm sorry, but it's a straight up lie. I got this one at Cash for Chaos. So cute. Isn't that the cutest belt ever? I love wild belts. This one's a Ouija board or a planchette, so that fits me perfectly. One of my favorite, my go-to for everything is tall black boots. Knee-high thigh boots. You can find these anywhere with a platform, literally like DSW. I've found a few pairs of these at Ross. You can find these anywhere and they will go with literally anything. It's always my backup plan. Now, I don't wear platforms every single day, but I do love my platforms, okay? I'm not gonna lie. One thing that I do spend my money on, once again, accessory-wise, is shoes, okay? I love shoes, purses, and accessories. Like, these were almost $300 from Steve Madden. They're beautiful. I mean, yes, you could make these at home. Just make sure you use really good super glue, but these were beautiful. I do have a few pairs of Demonias. They don't come out as often as they used to. And like, this is YRU platforms, Monster High. So once again, I find my basics for inexpensive because it's really easy to swap them out and it's easier to find the basics. And then I spend my money on beautiful shoes, alternative purses, and accessories. Like, these are Guess platforms that I found at Ross for like $20. Harnesses are hard to find, honestly. So the one that I have on, if I were to be honest, the two companies that I love the most are probably Foxblood and Disturbia. They're a little bit more on the pricey side, or like above average, should I say. But this is a harness from Foxblood, and I loved the detailing on the shoulders. The one I'm wearing is from Disturbia. Harnesses go for $50 to $80, so they're not cheap. I have a bunch, and sometimes you can find them on Amazon, but they're not in stock very often, so you just have to watch. But just invest in one good harness. Like, this is a basic harness that you could literally use for multiple outfits before you start investing. Like, this one was like $78, okay? So start with one and then build up from there. I absolutely love hats and accessories. I have berets of all kinds, bats. This is a really cute one. This one says, "Don't pray for me." This is from Witchwood Bags. In fact, all of those hats right there are from Witchwood Bags. This one has a pumpkin on it. And I don't know, I find these in random places. Just sometimes they have them at, always check the hat aisle at Burlington, always. Vegan felt foiled hats. They are a little bit more on the pricey side, but once again, this is what you're saving your money for. This is the important stuff. Bag problem, but let me just say this. It is so easy. This is Killstar, but to find just a big black bag. I mean, I need a big black bag. And then add rhinestones or whatever to it, and like chains. Like, it's, go to Hobby Lobby. Like, it's so easy. This is Steve Madden, but I love that it was white. This one is, I think it's Restyle band. This one's band. But this would be so easy to do on your own, to DIY it. So just keep that in mind. Pants, I do have pants. I do own a bunch of pants, although half my closet is kind of packed right now because I'm moving. Pants are hard for me to find, but I do own jeans. Like, some days I want to wear jeans. Some days I want to be comfortable. Don't be afraid to not look the part, which is me saying, don't put yourself, you know, in a box, because you might want to change it up a little bit. Leather jackets are easy to find at thrift stores. I have a ton of leather jackets. These are just like to die for. I think that concludes my 101 video for you guys, okay? Don't think that being alternative or goth is complicated. It's really not. I've been all goth since I was like 13. Make it a fun process and understand that, no, this outfit did not cost $100. I mean, this was 50 bucks, but even my shoes don't. Like, today, since I have these skull tights on, I want to show the tights off, right? So I would probably wear knee-high boots, and the knee-high boots I have in there were like 30, 40 bucks. This is your basic 101. If you have any questions, leave them below. We'll do more videos, but I wanted to get you guys going and start with Pinterest. And one more thing I just wanted to comment on is to encourage you to DIY as much as you can, because honestly, it's a lot cooler that way. To be, you know, that's against the grain of not like wanting to fit in. Once again, you don't have to spend a lot of money, and, you know, remember, eat the rich, right? Like, personally, I'm gonna get on a soapbox for a second. If I were a millionaire or a billionaire like Jeff Bezos, I would be helping contribute to the planet, you know? I would be building low income locations to help people get on their feet. I would especially want to help veterans, or a lot of the homelessness is kids on the street, you know? I would be paying it forward with that money, and we gotta eat the rich. So I guess what I'm saying is, when it comes to big names like Walmart, Target, or even, you know, Amazon, I really am careful, and I personally limit myself to what I get there, even grocery shopping wise, okay? Try to stick with like the dollar stores or Aldi or Costco. I do most of my grocery shopping at Costco, just because we do need to eat the rich, you know? Like, and I get it, there's individual sellers on Amazon, and I hate to make them suffer personally. However, these people that have all this money, they need to help the planet more. They need to help people. So we need to try to limit consumption as contributing to these millionaires and billionaires as much as we can, unless they're doing something good for the planet and the environment, or for humans, because that's just the way it should be. So I hope this gives you enough information to at least get started. Remember, DIY is so important. It's so fun to do. Craft stores, right? And I'm going to do more videos on DIY. That will be your best friend. Love you guys. Bye.